And welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein, along with Justin Prince, working the board back at the Wolf, and back by popular demand, Coach Larry McDaniel in his third year as football coach. And I tell you what, we spent a lot of time with each other the last 2 weeks. A couple of scrimmages with Southview and Start, and I tell you what, the one-word expectations is there, and you've got to like it.
Yeah, I think they're there every year for every team this time of the year. It's nothing that I believe is unique to us. I think everyone's kind of chomping at the bit to get going.
Third year in, what's changed in 3 years for you? Or maybe nothing's changed at all.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that I'm more comfortable with the kids. They know me. Our seniors are the guys that I started with. So there's 3 years of relationships that we have. And the expectations, they understand our expectations as a program, just because that's all they know as varsity football players. So I think that's the biggest thing. Those kids have grown up in the system, and they understand what we're all about.
And the thing is, I mean, you look in the paper, they talk about the dynamic duos, Brady Lichtenberg, Dimitri Mitsopoulos. They talk about who can make runs in Division II. But there's no doubt. I mean, I can't think of a better wide receiver core and quarterback than anybody in the area.
Well, you know what, that remains to be seen. Potential is just exactly what it is. It's potential. And until you do something on the field, that's all it is. And wasted potential is one of the worst things you can do in life. So it's all about production, and we'll see if our guys are able to do that. We start out next week against Bowling Green, and we'll see how we fare. What
do you like so far about what you've seen from the scrimmages?
We've done a decent job of moving the ball. I think our offensive staff has done a really nice job of taking what defenses give us. That was a challenge that I had for those guys this offseason, is just to take what the defenses give you. We don't have to hit the home run every time. We've got some threats. We've got to make people defend our threats, and you do that by dinking and dunking the ball down the field and opening up the run game, because guys are going to probably have to, or they're going to think they're going to have to double cover some of our guys. And play with safeties over the top. So what happens is, once that happens, that lightens up the box, and we were able to run the ball pretty effectively in those first two scrimmages because we had lighter boxes. So our staff's doing a really good job of just taking what the defenses give us.
The one kid we missed last year, of course, we had Dimitri Mitsopoulos, Jack Ryder, Zyrus kind of stepped up last year. Mm-hmm. I'm sure for the Titan faithful, it's good to see Jaden McKinstry back in the hunt again.
Yeah, that more so than anything, just because that young man and what he went through, to have him back on our team and to work himself back into playing shape, that to me as a coach is what it's all about. Wins and losses are what they are, but it's really about the relationships that you develop with these young people. And he's a special kid. He comes from a special family, and I'm just so happy that he's back out with us.
What's it been like for him?
You know what? It's challenging. It is. He's had a few setbacks, and these are things outside of what he dealt with last year. But just kind of nickel and dime type things. He dropped the helmet on his toe when we were at our retreat. He banged his knee at the beginning of practice. So just getting his legs back underneath him. But he's working. He's got a great attitude about the whole thing.
Talk a little bit about the retreat at Ohio Northern.
It was great. This is our third year doing it. Ohio Northern is an outstanding institution. It was really close. We got it at the last minute, but it may be a place where we go back. It's just a great team bonding type of event. We take the freshmen with us, and it's their first experience with St. John's football. They get a chance to understand what we as a program are all about and what our expectations are. And it's great because it's before school, so they really get a nice dose of what reality is going to be like once they become Titans in the building, and then they can just go from there. So it was very rewarding, and I think the kids really enjoyed themselves.
Changes to the coaching staff. You lost a big one last year in Coach Hankish, your defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. How's that changed for you?
Well, we added a great coach with Dave Romaker. Dave is a local guy, and he's coached a lot. He also played college football at Florida State when Deion Sanders and Bobby Bowden was there. So he brings a wealth of knowledge to our back end. But, obviously when you lose a defense coordinator with the years and the experience of Coach Hankish, it's going to hurt a little bit. But our kids are resilient, our staff's resilient, and we just kind of pick up the pieces where they are, and we'll put the thing together as well as we can.
The track season, obviously the same cast of characters. Is it Central Whitmer than us, pretty much?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I mean, when I had the opportunity to vote, that's that's the way I listed it. You can never count Central out. Like I tell people all the time, the track championship goes through Cherry Street. It's been that way for the last 2 years. Well, at least last year, and the year before that it was Whitmer, and the year before that was Central. So those two schools have kind of traded it back and forth, with Central winning the lion's share of those. So. As much as people want to say one of those schools is down, that's just not true. They don't go down. Great programs reload. They don't drop off, and neither one of those schools is going to drop off. So, I think that, like I said, the championship goes through there.
The region, as far as playoffs goes, how much have changed in that? I understand there's a lot more Olentangy teams in our region right now.
Yeah, I think we're now down to in that Columbus region instead of being over with the guys from Cleveland. So, you know what? Those are those kind of things that you see. They exist, but that's not something that that I look at, because at the end of the day, we have to take one game at a time. And right now, our focus is on Bowling Green and next week.
And the thing is, you talk about focus. You need to be ready for that first game, because I remember a year ago, those kids were walking the hallways, and they thought they had that Bowling Green game one.
Right.
You got to remind them of that, don't you?
Oh, without question. That's the thing about football, especially when you're playing a triple option team. If you're not able to score, and those guys are able to stay in the game, and they're able to shorten the game and just go with their 10 and 12 and 14 play drives, you find yourself in a dogfight at the end of that, and that's exactly what happened with us. We started to come back at the end, but it was just a little too late. So I know that everyone remembers that, and we're not taking anyone lightly, and we'll be looking forward to playing those guys next Friday.
The one thing I've noticed from the scrimmages is when the guys take their shoulder pads off and stuff, that, boy, there's been an emphasis in the weight room. Brady Lichtenberg is much bigger up top. Dimitri Matsopoulos, a lot of these guys, you can just tell they've had a little passion for the weight room in the offseason.
Yeah, we got a great strength staff. We actually, in my opinion, have the best strength staff in the area, because we have so many. We have Dr. Dustin Winkler, who mans up his crew, but all summer we had 4 to 5 strength coaches in there. We got another guy that works right along with Dr. Winkler, Craig. I don't know Craig's last name, but he's very well respected. He's ex-military. And those guys do a really, really nice job of motivating the kids, and our kids understand the importance of getting in the weight room and getting stronger.
You're in your third year. You've seen these guys for 3 years now. You know what's great about them. What's the one thing they really need to do if they're going to get it to that next level?
Well, we just have to understand that when adversity hits, we have got to be able to play through it. One of the things that we just, we got a great group of kids, but some of the times when things don't go right, we have a tendency to let the environment take over instead of saying, no, I'm going to take a hold of the environment and I'm going to make it what it should be. And I'm hoping that our senior class will be able to do that. I'm hoping that they'll say that they understand, and I've told them this a million times, that it's not always going to be 75 and sunny. And the measure of a man is not getting knocked down, is how you get back up. So all those things, if they just continue to listen and they apply them, it'll be interesting to see how we do.
Always good to see you. I'll see you at Perrysburg tomorrow, man.
Thank you, my friend.
When we come back, we're going to talk cross country with head coach Todd Black. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's a St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Perfect. Justin, have you been trying to talk to me? Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Finishing up with football. It's time to swing to cross country with head coach Todd Black. Saw him at school earlier today, and I tell you what, it never ends for you guys either, does it? You go all summer long and get ready for the fall.
Yeah, we've been going for about 3 months now, since we started in June.
How much running do you do in the summertime?
We're meeting 4 or 5 days a week, building our miles slowly. Start out around 25 to 30 miles, and hopefully most of the guys, our varsity, are up to 40, 45, 50 right now.
Sitting there in Musa Aurora, the golf team's already played like 5,000 meets already, but you don't get started till the weekend, do you?
I know, it's like some horses in the gate. They're ready to go. I had one of my runners, Liam, he wanted to get out a road race last Friday, and I'm like, just hold off a little bit. Next weekend, we'll let you loose and go.
That makes sense, though. I mean, Liam Seipel, hockey player, he's intense, but he was your number one runner a year ago and nearly made it to state.
Yeah, and he's our number one runner right now. He's running really, really well, and he just needs to get out there and get against some good competition and see where he's at, and then he can start understanding how much more he has to work.
It's been a struggle for a couple of years. Are you headed in the right direction?
We're still moving in the right direction. It's not where I want it to be. I'd like to be deeper and stronger and dominate this area like we used to. But the guys are working hard. We have some young guys in there that can be in our top 7, some sophomores and freshmen. So, we have 2 seniors that'll be our probably 1 and 2 guy, and so we're building slowly.
Are you getting more guys out of the academy nowadays that maybe you didn't get in the past?
I think we have 2 or 3 guys running for us from the academy. We didn't have a coach for a year or 2, and then Coach Goo helped out a little bit last year, and then we have a new coach, Coach Bill File, and he has about 7, 8 guys out there right now. So it's kind of like we're bringing it back, the program down there, and getting some guys running. So I think it'll help us more in the next couple years than it did in the last 2.
Yeah, it's not like basketball where you can have 2 great players like a Vince Williams and the Houston King and that kind of carry the team. With cross country, you really need a complete team, don't you?
Yeah, usually 5 to 7 kids would really be helpful because, you need that depth. You get somebody banged up, they score 5. So, you can have 1, 2 in the front, but if you're 4th and 5th or, second to last and dead last, that's going to hurt you.
Going another direction, I'm sure you saw the story this week as a cross country coach and as a father and whatever. The incident with the cross-country meet with the St. Ursula girl, helping that girl across the finish line. What did you think when you saw that?
I mean, you see that every now and then, and that's, our sport is about, it is a different sport, and it's about helping each other and pushing each other. You're out there working together. It's not like, I always tell my kids, it's not like football or basketball where somebody's trying to stop you. You're trying to score, the other team's trying to stop you scoring. Cross-country, you're just trying to run fast and you're trying to beat that person, but they're not able to slow you down. So when someone's in that situation, you feel like you want to help them out.
Does it happen more often than you think?
Oh, yeah.
Like I was going to say, because you go to some meets, maybe this one stood out because somebody took a picture and whatever, but from what I understand, this kind of thing does happen quite often.
You do see it happen, and you're not supposed to be able to help that person across the line or even in a meet. It will supposedly disqualify that person, but the natural instinct of these kids, you want to help them. I think 2 years ago, we were at the Tiffin Carnival, and one of our runners' shoe fell off, and our second runner went back to get it. And I mean, his natural instinct to help somebody out, I'm like, you don't do that again because you just lost about 100 spots. But his instinct was to go back and get his teammate's running shoe because they had a chip in it, and the official said, you got to have that chip when you cross the finish line.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the upcoming season. Now, you start this weekend, but again, Whitmer going to be strong again, and that's what you're looking for.
I think Whitmer has, they have a really good runner, and they had some depth last year. Fremont had 2 good runners. St. Francis always has some depth. We're going to find out where we're at. Like I said, we've been training for almost 3 months now, and so we're going to see what we can do out on the course, and then we'll match up, see what we can do against some of the teams. We train all the way through these first 6 weeks. And then our peak season is in October. So mentally our kids are not, and physically they're not going to be sharp when they step out there this weekend. They've been working really hard. And I tell them that, you got to learn to race now and race when you're tired. And then in October, we're going to be fresh and we'll be ready to go 100%.
How do you get ready for race day?
Well, we work out, hard workouts on Mondays and Wednesdays, some recovery runs in between, and then on Friday we do a pre-race, some strides, and just have a mental conversation. And then you get down there and you get some good sleep the night before, and you get out on the course and you run the course a little bit, and then you get out there and race.
What other guys do we need to look forward to other than, we know Liam Seipel, but give me an idea about the other guys.
Roman Mara, Nick Morris, he's a sophomore. Okay. Roman's a senior. He's one of our captains. Sam Ingram's one of our captains. Anthony Patton is a sophomore. He's probably in our top 7. Freshman, Cooper Hoyt, he's a freshman. He's been up there. I'm probably missing somebody else, but yeah, I think that's most of our guys that. Oh, junior Cameron Jones. He's been up there with our top 7. So I think, normally in August I can see who's going to be our top 7. So that's what I'm guessing. Now there could be somebody that just races better than they train, and you have that every now and then. But I think that's what it's going to look like. The
event you have this weekend, the Norm Bray Invitational, where is it, and what kind of teams you're going to see there?
It's a smaller meet. Everyone, the nice thing about this meet is we don't have to distinguish who's our varsity. So you put our whole team on the line, you race against everybody else's team. So Fremont's going to be there, Bowling Green's usually there. There's only like 5 or 6 teams, and it's a nice little opener for us. It's a tough course, but it's not real competitive and it's not real serious, so it's nice to get a good race out under our belt and see where we're at. It's in Fremont. It's down by the reservoir, so it's kind of a hilly course and some rough terrain, so it makes it challenging cross-country course.
Always good to talk to you, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah,
when we come back, we're going to switch to golf. We have Musa Ora in the house. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. All righty. How late did we go there? 7:21. That was almost 10 minutes. Well, no, actually, no. That was close to 8 minutes.
No, that was almost 8 minutes.
That was close to 8 because it's 7:11. And welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Long time no see. Just saw Musa Orr and Coach Black in the offices at St. John's earlier in the day, but now we got Musa in the house talking about the golf team, and it's really no exaggeration. You guys have played like half your season already, haven't you?
Absolutely. We have tryouts, and right away we go right into our season. Like I said, halfway through already. We were just able to get our first team practice together, full team practice this week. We got to fight the weather, but they're getting out there, they're playing, and it's been going good so far.
The tournaments that you've had, I mean, it's been, obviously we're finding out that Northview and Perrysburg are going to probably be your toughest competition this year.
Yeah, they're tough, and they got some young talent, too, so they're going to be tough for a couple of years. We've been right there in the mix with them, too. Basically, we've been able to finish second to them in a couple different tournaments, so we're right there fighting with them, and we hope we turn it on towards the end of the season. That's when it really counts.
You already had a young team last year, but you got a young team again this year.
We do. We have a couple freshmen that have been playing in the varsity lineups, which is really nice. Overall, 5 freshmen. Some really good scores. I'm telling you, just from tryouts, our highest scores were averaging in the upper 90s, which is really good compared to previous years where they're shooting in the 110s, 115. So it's a lot better experience.
Do you guys usually play at least one meet a week?
To start the season, it's like I said, we went off 6 matches our first week, about 4 the second week, so this is our first week off, but it's about, a couple matches a week.
Is this one of your more, I should say, loaded teams? It just seems like from top to bottom, from like 1 through 7, that's a lot closer competition than it was a year ago this time.
So my younger talent, I think that their scores the way they are now definitely would have been playing over some of the older talent from last year. But yeah, it just seems like stable across the board. We had, like I said, the freshman talent, some of our sophomores, juniors. It's spread across the board, so it's kind of nice.
Your guy, your top gun, Joey Hoppin-Johns, again, we were joking earlier. He played that junior tournament in Sylvania. And
right.
I went up and watched him. He shot 95.
Yep,
Then your very first meet, he goes out and shoots 73.
Yeah.
He's a talented guy, isn't he?
He sure is, and he works at it too. And he gets some of those funks where he just gets the shakes or whatever it is. Recently, it was just his putting, so we switched the putter up. That mental game of it. He started hitting putts, so if that works, we get him a new putter every week, we'll do it.
As a coach, do you just send them out and tell them to play, or what kind of strategy do you have to get them ready for a season?
Each kid is different, but going into each match is about playing the course. Some guys, especially the younger guys, the freshmen, they haven't seen a course, knowing how to play it the right way. Sometimes you got to play the course the way they're telling you to play it. Don't try to do anything fancy. Par is good, and they're telling you to play it by par. So
you have had so much success in the last few years. When kids come in, are they aware of the success? And your guys don't seem nervous about it. They seem to grasp onto that, don't they?
Absolutely. So they're aware of that tradition, that winning tradition that just comes with St. John's. So they know previous years before them, guys are looking to compete at states, make it to states, not just win the league championship, which is awesome, and we've been doing that, but they want to get to the next level, and that's a great part of the history that we have, and they want to be a part of that.
Speaking of great golfers, Jack Manzanati, a few years ago. Is he still at Ohio State? What is Jack doing nowadays?
We were just talking about it today because we saw some of the Toledo golfers at Stone Oak, our home course, and one of his biggest competitors, Spencer Schumacher, I thought he was there, but I forgot. He just graduated last year, same as Jack, so it's crazy to think that much time already went by. But he was great talent. He had a good career over at Ohio State, and, definitely miss a talent like that.
And the thing is, as good as Jack was, when he got down to Ohio State, that's a whole different world down there, isn't it?
All of a sudden, all these players can shoot, play scratch golf and shoot under par, and, it's a different beast.
We know how the competition will be district-wise with Northview and Perrysburg.
Right.
Talk about the track. Who's your best competition in the track?
So in the track right now, St. Francis, so our rival's right up there, Finley's right up there, and that's the biggest competition. There's been a couple matches, non-league events, where they've placed ahead of us, so we know at any given time they can do it too. So they're always the competition, but like you said, Perrysburg, Northview, they're tough.
You just finished with the Sylvania Invitational. What's coming up in the future?
So we have our league match coming up on Monday. That's going to be the third one. We've placed first in the league so far for the first 2 matches. Then we have a couple trips. We have one going in the Columbus area. We have a couple in the Canton area, some really nice golf courses. A good chance to travel, bond with the team and everything, and just play some challenging courses against some very tough competition.
What are the toughest courses you play in the area?
In the area, so we're at Stone Ridge. That's definitely one. We'll go to Red Hawk. Let's see, going out of the area, one of my favorite matches is when we play at Red Tail in Cleveland. Just the course itself, huge fairways, but you better hit in the fairway, otherwise it's going out of bounds, hills and everything. So it's always a fun one to go to.
Baseball, soccer always has a Jesuit Cup. Do you guys ever get in competition with Ignatius and those guys in Cleveland?
We do. And normally that's at that Red Tail Invite where all 4 Jesuit schools are there. It's a tournament within a tournament. We play for a Jesuit Cup, and the trophy actually came from St. Andrew, so it's got some history there. It's a small little cup, but we pass it around each year to the winner, whoever wins out of the Jesuit schools there, and put our names on it. So we've won it a few years ago, so we'd like to get it back, but yeah.
Most importantly, how was your golf game this summer?
Golf game this summer could have been a lot more existent. I always say when the kids get older, my golf game is going to get a little bit more active, but it's amazing. When they get busier, golf seems to not exist as much for me. But
did you have a chance to go out to Inverness and watch any of the junior amateur at all?
Yeah, I didn't make it out to Inverness. I did track some of the scores and everything, and I heard about some of the guys. And I tried to get to some of the matches out throughout the season. And it is fun to just watch them play. And some guys just play in a different sense when it's an individual game versus team game. And I think that's part of some of the struggle we see right now. When you play a team game, it's a little bit different. So I hope they just gel even more as the season progresses. And show some better scores.
Do you find like the current crop of young guys, and the one thing I noticed out of the Inverness is that, these guys, whether it was Summer Hayes or, Batia and these guys, their demeanor is so, it's like so natural for them to play golf, and nothing ever phases them. Do you notice that more nowadays?
The thing that I notice the most is there's a lot of younger talent, which is awesome to see. Obviously, you hope they all come to one specific school there, but it's just amazing. You look at the leaderboards throughout all the tournaments over the years, and you just see that young talent across the board, and it's pretty nice. It's nice to have that competitive field all around.
Good to see you, as always. When we come back, we're going to switch gears again. We're going to talk soccer with head coach Greg McElroy. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Good job.
Stopping right or getting caught in something, and
Right. And welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Joining us now, head soccer coach Greg McElroy. Just saw him the other day. We're kind of hoping to play that Anthony Wayne game, but I think in the end, it got rained out, but from your point of view, and I agree, so I'm kind of glad we didn't have to play that game.
Yeah, we were getting concerned, obviously, about the field condition. We just got so much rain out there, and the last thing you want to see is someone get hurt just because you're just trying to get that game in when, in this case, because of the lightning, it just sort of forced us to take a new tack on it and just say, listen, let's just find another date and see if we can get it rescheduled.
And I know you wanted to get a game in because you got the all-important Jesuit Cup this weekend.
Yeah, we were certainly looking for those 80 minutes just to see if we're, on the right track after our Wellington game down in Columbus. We came back from a tie at Wellington, worked on a couple things, wanted to see if it had taken hold and getting us tuned up for the Jesuit Cup.
Couple really good kids, Eli Shope, Abdi Faki, now down at Bowling Green. Tom Shook is gone. You're taking over right now. What do you have left in the cupboard?
Well, speaking of BG, Joey Akpaduno just agreed to, I think, go to BG. He's one of our top seniors, probably one of the top players in the area. Dion Vartarella is another senior. We've got actually 9 seniors, and probably 5 or 6 are going to start and contribute. The others will contribute as well. So we have a lot of seniors, though we're not exclusively relying on senior leadership at this point. So we've got a pretty good balance across the board, all the way down to a couple freshmen that made varsity this year. So,
And it shouldn't be hard for you. You're familiar with St. John's soccer, so it's really, how's the transition been for you?
so far so good. I mean, it's been a couple years since I've been out there coaching. Right. So, but I certainly remember the Titan way back, obviously, when I was a player and back when I first started my coaching career. So I've been very fortunate so far with the staff that we've been able to put together there with Coach Cabrera, who teaches there at the school. Chris Black has joined us to be a goalkeeping coach. I've retained Rob Cryan, who stayed on to be the JVB coach, and then we're adding yet another coach, Ian Apple, who's a graduate of St. John's, who had a team, the JVB, a couple years ago. He's now back in a position where he can come back and help, so he's going to be an assistant for the whole program. So looking good from that sense. And we had a great time on a retreat. After we picked the team, we went down to West Virginia, went whitewater rafting, full day on the water with just the varsity. Then had team building the following day. And actually, while we were there, walked out of the shower room, and here comes across the campground St. Ignatius was there as well. So I talked to Mike, who's the coach there, and so we chatted. It's good to know that we're already up to sort of speed to what they're doing. We're doing the same thing, so that was good.
We're so used to football teams making these trips. Football team has gone to John Carroll, obviously it's here, Ohio Northern. Making a trip like that, how huge is that for you?
It was huge. I mean, that was one of the things when I first got the job. I said, what's the retreat status? Because when I was last with St. John's, 18, 20 years ago, we did the first retreat. We did a whitewater rafting trip. I was an assistant then, and Coach Delverne at the time said, I need you guys to plan this. So Coach Weisenberg and I planned it. We had such a great time down there. It gave the boys something to share in common, since obviously, like I said, we've got freshmen to seniors playing together who've never played together. So give them something that's unique to them, and that way it hopefully builds that sense of oneness and teamness. And we had it really couldn't have gone any better.
The last couple of years, the way the track is shaken out, it's been us and St. Francis. Is that pretty much the same dog we're going to see again this year?
The St. Francis is looking good again. I mean, I know they had a bit of a slow start, obviously, with Perrysburg. We were talking about that game. It was a rough start, just physically rough start. And then, obviously they came out on the short end of it. But, I mean, Francis over there will get them heading in the right direction. And as a rivalry game, I mean, they're always going to bring their best. We're always going to try to bring our best, and hopefully we can prevail. But that's probably where we're seeing the track come down to.
As far as district-wise, is Perrysburg one of those guys you have to look for in the future?
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting. I mean, I was talking with Coach Fisher from Pacesetter, and we were chatting about what team was going to be the standout this year. And I said in the preseason poll, I'm not really sure where to even put the vote. I mean, everybody lost quite a bit last year across the board. Any team that was really good last year lost really, really good quality players. So it's, who are the last year's juniors or last year's sophomores that are really going to step up and fill some of those voids. And, we saw Perrysburg do that against St. Francis the other night. So I would certainly say they're a team to watch at the moment. So
the one thing I've always noticed with Perrysburg, it doesn't matter what year it is, they always seem to have a great goalie.
They do. I mean, you go to Casey Latcham way back when. And their population just keeps getting bigger and bigger out there. So I think the pool is a good pool out there. But no, they've got a great keeper now, and he's going to keep them in games. I mean, games that maybe that they could lose if they didn't have that quality keeper back there making those key one or two saves that they keep them in games.
And that'll probably be your biggest decision as well, who your goalkeeper is going to be, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, we've got two wonderful keepers. We've got a sophomore, Luis Fuentes, and junior Ben Donecki. They both played for us down at Wellington. Both did a great job. So we're gonna let them play it out during the season, and then probably as we get into the postseason, we'll see who had a better run during the season, and then we'll go to the hot hand, as it were.
What's the schedule for the Jesuit Cup look like over the weekend?
Ignatius right out of the gate at noon on Saturday, and then the winner of that game plays the winner of the Walsh St. X game on the following day, and the loser of that game plays the loser of the Walsh St. X game on Sunday. So 2 games, 2 days, back to back. It's going to be. In theory, we were supposed to have 4 games done by this weekend. Well, obviously, Anthony Wayne's a reschedule, but we'll have, we'll get 2 big games this weekend, and hopefully we'll come back better team and and no injuries. That would be key, obviously, at this point. But I'm looking to see a good measuring stick for our team, see where we are.
What stood out for you in that very first game with Wellington? I know it was a 2-2 tie.
Yeah, to be honest, we started a little slow. I think them being a smaller school, I think we weren't quite as mentally focused as I think we could have been. Obviously, it's the first long trip. It was a long bus ride in a yellow bus, not that comfortable. Certainly not an excuse, but may have played a factor in that, getting them ready. So I told them, I said, I'll take some of the hit for that, guys, that I didn't get you guys as ready for this. We were ready the other night against Anthony Wayne because everybody knows everybody, so there were no surprises there. But, I mean, Wellington came out. They've got, their coach coaches their version of Toledo Villa. He's down there. I mean, he's a good coach. JJ's a really good coach, and they've got some nice players. It kind of reminded me of the Ottawa Hills group that was there last year. D1 quality players at a small school, and they had pace on the outside, and they tested us. So,
you mentioned earlier Claudio is one of your assistants. We talked before. He was actually my color guy for the St. John's run a few years ago when they won the regional final and lost in the state semifinals to Ignatius in that overtime game.
Okay.
How important is he to your staff? Because he just seems like he has that kind of vibrant personality that can really get the kids going.
Yeah, he's really positive, just super, super enthusiastic. And he was actually recommended to me when I got the job. The AD, Bob, and I said, hey, you may just want to talk to Claudio. He's in the building. One, it's good because he's in the building. He gets the pulse of the kids in school, figures out what's going on from that standpoint. I talked to his director of coaching when he was at Metro, and he spoke so very highly of him, and it's just been a wonderful pickup to have him. He's infectious. You can see that he loves the game, and that only translates to a better attitude and a better way of coaching for him for this group. So we're excited.
You've been around soccer in Northwest Ohio for a long time. Is it probably more talent? Have you seen more talent now than you've ever seen in this area?
I would probably say that's true. I mean, if you look across the board, I mean, the teams are doing, certainly on the club level, you can see that the teams are succeeding. I just saw that Celtics did real well over in Europe at a tournament there. The Pacesetter boys are in the ECNL, the National League. So I think the depth of talent is certainly growing, and the high school that collects a couple more of those players one year, I think that will be the team that will make a run that could be special one of these days here from Northwest Ohio. So.
And again, the love affair between BGSU and St. John's. It started with Buddha, Zach Bisher, Eli Shope, Cale Nichols, Abdi Faki, and now Joey.
Yep.
I mean, it's just there's just a pipeline down there now.
Yeah, Eric's getting he's doing a good job with the boys he gets, so obviously they're spreading the word for him, and it's a pipeline. It really is at this point. So, keeps the boys close by and, helps to continue to develop Northwest Ohio soccer. It's a good thing.
Buddha, as good as he was, I know his brother went to Northwestern, was really, really good.
Yep.
Buddha, how's he been doing at Bowling Green?
From what I've been hearing, he's doing well. This will be senior year. We were just talking about him before the show, that he's going to be a senior this year. It's hard to believe. I coached him years and years ago as a 12, 13-year-old when he was playing club, and to think now that he's coming to the end of his collegiate career already is just mind-boggling to me.
One of my favorite lines of all time on BCSN, Eric Hobart, who was an anchor at BCSN. Buddha scored an overtime goal over at Central Catholic in the regional.
Okay. And,
of course, Buddha tore off his shirt. And Eric's line was, he's more of a burner than a tanner.
That's a good description.
One of my favorite lines of all time. So, but again, he was so talented.
Yeah. I mean, both of those Bishers were ridiculous in terms of their ability, and we were fortunate enough to see Buddhas play soccer because I think he would have been I think he was actually a better baseball player. Many people said.
And he's a great basketball player.
And a great basketball player. So he was one of those players that was just a special athlete and a great kid, and just so much fun to coach and watch him will a team to a victory. So,
Coach, always good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
After the Jesuit Cup, hopefully we'll see that Anthony Wayne game September 12th, right? Was it rescheduled?
No, we're gonna have to reschedule again.
That's what I saw on Twitter. So
I was told that September 12th is not a date we can schedule. So at St. John's.
So we don't have
a date yet. Don't have a date yet. We'll get it out.
I appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to switch gears again. Final coach of the night, head crew coach Chris Sammel, is in the house. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's a St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. In Maumee, it's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. The Coaches Bonanza continues, and we wrap things up with head crew coach Chris Sammel. And, of course, for the last couple of years, we know about Pete Fox. And, of course, Pete surprised us all at the banquet when he announced that he's retiring, but his assistant coach, Chris Sammel, is taking over. And, Chris, congratulations again on being the head crew coach.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a big opportunity, and the rowing team for St. John's is the most prestigious in Toledo, so that feels good and it's exciting.
And the thing is, you're exactly right. You have some big shoes to fill, man. Yeah. Phil to Pete Fox to you. I mean,
and then Coach Mack.
There's been quite a tradition there, man.
It really has. I met with Coach McElroy a couple of days ago, and I asked him 2 questions. We chatted for an hour because he just had all these stories and things to say about the history of the team.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because Greg's dad was actually on the show a year ago because he got inducted into the St. John's Hall of Fame. And how much knowledge does this guy have for you?
He's got a lot. I've reached out to. Well, now I'm developing that relationship so I can get some more stuff from him.
Taking over the team, does it change much? Is it are the guys going to see anything different?
Well, from my end, it's a lot more emails. But for the guys, what I'm trying to do this fall is really create a culture of work. I always say rowing's a training-based sport. You got to train. If you want to get better at rowing, you got to row. So what we're really emphasizing is getting through the process and doing the work.
Now, you rowed in high school. You rowed at Boston College. What can you take from that kind of experience to the kids you have now?
And I also rowed, in the summers at the Detroit Boat Club. And the big thing for me is just I have a lot of experiences about and I know what's out there. I know what the possibilities are. And if you just row for a normal team in Ohio and Toledo, you don't have any perspective on what the world is of rowing.
You lose the big guys, Ben Tice, Joey Thaman, who'd been around for years.
Yeah.
What do you have coming back to look forward to?
So a couple guys coming in from that boat from last year that was pretty successful. Seth Parsons, whose brother was a rower for St. John's. John Deal is a senior. Andrew Dake's been with the team for 4 years. So they're pretty skilled rowers. They're pretty experienced, and they're driven. But across the board, I see a lot of drive and a lot of passion to get better, which is really exciting.
Give me an idea what their week is like.
So in the Monday and Friday, we're in the morning on the Maumee River. Tuesday through Thursday, we're in the evening on the Maumee River. And then they also have a lift on Tuesday and Thursday morning, so it's a full load.
We were talking earlier with Coach McDaniel about the football team and how they've beefed up because the weight room's kind of changed.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Winkler's getting some help from Sean Contos.
Yeah.
How much has he helped your program?
He's been terrific. Just getting the kids to understand the technique of lifting is helping them to become better rowers. The deadlift and the rowing stroke are basically the same thing. So.
The meets in the fall, what are probably the biggest meets you have this fall?
So we start off with the head of the Cuyahoga in Cleveland. That's become a pretty big race. They run it well. It's a nice venue. We're going to go to Columbus for 2 invitationals in one weekend with some of the bigger teams in Ohio and the Midwest. And then Pete is stepped down, but he's working behind the scenes a little bit. He's helping perhaps schedule a trip to Chattanooga at the end of the fall.
Are you nervous at all about it?
I want the guys to do well, and I want the guys to enjoy it, and that's any cause of nerve for me is just that the guys are doing well and having a good time.
Good to meet you. Good luck this fall, man.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to wrap things up with Director of Athletics, Bob Ronay. We're going to talk about the Chick-fil-A Athlete and Teacher of the Week. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. And welcome back, everybody. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein, along with Justin Prince, working that board back at the Wolf. And joining us now, Director of Athletics, Bob Ronet. And we don't have a Chick-fil-A Athlete and Teacher of the Week just yet because we really haven't played anything, but Bob's going to explain it. It's coming back again this year.
Yeah, we were real fortunate. The folks at Chick-fil-A over on 6720 Airport Highway, the owner is Justin Amberby. They have again agreed to sponsor our Athlete of the Week and our faculty, administrator, staff person of the week. So each week, we have 40 shows, so technically there are going to be at least 40 Chick-fil-A winners in those categories. And what they get is they get a nice little meal card where they get their choice of a meal at Chick-fil-A. And, they're great people. They're great sponsors. They do a lot of other things. They're helping with the leadership program, of course, that our head wrestling coach, Sean Contos, is going to be instructing. And they're just good folks and everything. And, again, hey, if you're out our way, go to 6720 Airport Highway or go on Central Avenue and McCord. That's the two Chick-fil-A's that Justin owns. And, again, go out there and support him because he does support us at St. John's.
While we have a chance, let's talk about some of the sponsors we're going to have for football this year.
Yeah, we're kind of excited. We got a lot. Obviously, with the coach show here, we've got Sidelines, who has agreed to be our yearly sponsor. We have Kia Taylor. Steve Taylor, again, this second year. He's the presenting sponsor for both football and basketball. So those are two of our major ones, but we got a lot, different people. Jason Dura of Petite Gourmet, La Petite Gourmet, is a sponsor. We have a new one, Sean Savage and Savage Associates is a sponsor. Don Newhart in Midland Title is a sponsor for us. Grand Rental, was it Great Rental?
Great Lakes Rental.
Great Lakes Rental.
They've been
one
for
of
the
our
last 6 years,
yeah.
but they've sponsored the postgame show.
The postgame show, Team Farthing again. So we've got some great people. Rosie's, the chef, he's going to be back out there. Associated Eye Care and everything. I know I'm missing some right off the top. UT Medical, where we get our trainers and everything from down there. And there. So we've got a good group of people. A new one, Ambridge Hospitality. They own the different hotels over there on Dessel over there. That actually one of them where I kind of reside now when I'm up here in Toledo and everything. So it's a good group of people. They see the value of what St. John's is all about. They see the value with our athletic program, and they see that our coverage has grown. We got BCSN now involved with the streaming, and we're going to be real excited because at our home football games, we've got there's a little known, I guess, law though to say, you're not allowed to do them on Friday nights live, but if you have students involved, you can stream it through your website, which we're going to be doing and working because our students are going to get involved with BCSN and the production and everything going on with those games. So it's really kind of neat, and it's just kind of, and how much it's grown. It's amazing, how many people not only watch or listen within the area, but outside the area and everything. So we're real excited about
Big
it.
John and I were talking about it the other day. This is actually the 6th year we'll be broadcasting the football and basketball games. And this is probably the 4th year I think we're doing the coaches show.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is people don't realize there are a lot of schools that maybe have, broadcast football games, and then there's some maybe do basketball, maybe some do both. But there's no one doing all three. No one's doing football, basketball, and a yearly coaches show. It's just, there are a couple schools I know across the state have a coaches show in the fall only, and it's, strictly football. We incorporate all our other sports as well as other things, other different activities that are going on at St. John's. But no one else is doing what we're doing. It's a big, it. You're the main guy doing the broadcasting and everything, and how much effort and everything that it takes to do all this stuff and everything. But the thing I like, it's grown, and more important, we're going to be getting more and more students involved behind the scenes. We're going to get some down here. We have a broadcasting class that Tom Cole, one of our graduates, is back and doing. He's working with Kia Taylor. But the big thing is we're gotten to the point now where we want to see our students get more and more involved, and it's exciting, and it's grown, and I can tell you right now, there's no one in the state doing what we're doing.
And while we have a chance to have the opportunity, we want to remind people, the last couple of years I haven't had a color guy for football, but Tom Cole's going to be joining us next Friday.
That's correct. Tom is volunteering his time. He's a long-time announcer for BCSN and there, and very knowledgeable. He was the first graduating class when they came back. He was a quarterback for St. John's. He coached at St. John's, so a lot of knowledge, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And obviously he's going to have kids in his class going to do, if I understand, going to do the halftime show, interviews and so forth, so they can learn how it's all about and everything. And they'll have the opportunity to work with you and Tom. So it's it's everything we want it to be, and we're just progressing in the right stages.
Perfect. Good to see you, Bob. We're going to call it a night here at Sidelines. We want to thank the guys for being here tonight. Head football coach Larry McDaniel, cross-country coach Todd Black, golf coach Musa Ora, soccer coach Greg McElroy, and head crew coach Chris Samuel. Next time I talk to you will be next Thursday for the next edition of the Coaches Show here at Sidelines. Again, there's a scrimmage at Perrysburg tomorrow. If you get a chance, stop by Perrysburg tomorrow to watch the football Titans. That's scheduled for 7 o'clock. And, of course, the home opener a week from Friday against the Bowling Green Bobcats. I'm Gary Sensenstein saying good night and all the best. We were live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf.